Cicely Tyson's life was one of quiet defiance, strength, and purpose. Born on December 19, 1924 in East Harlem, she was the youngest of 3 children in a family that had come from the island of Nevis in the West Indies. Her father, William, was only 21 when he arrived in New York in 1919, passing through Ellis Island like thousands of other immigrants. He worked hard jobs, painting, fixing, carrying wood, anything that kept food on the table. Her mother, Frederica, worked as a domestic cleaner. When her parents separated, Frederica was left alone with 3 children and barely any money. They survived on welfare, and young Cicely saw struggle and poverty every day. Her mother was deeply religious and strict, forbidding movies, dancing, or certain kinds of music. Church was everything. Tyson attended services, sang in the choir, and joined prayer meetings. But even as a child, she felt drawn to something more. Movies fascinated her, even though she had to watch them in secret. When she told her mother she wanted to model or act, her mother was furious and told her she'd rather lose her daughter than see her in that kind of life. For years they didn't speak. Tyson grew up fast. At 9, she was already working, selling shopping bags on Harlem streets during the Great Depression. She saw white customers ignore her or pay her less, and those experiences shaped her resolve. At 17, she dropped out of high school to earn money as a typist for the Red Cross. During lunch breaks, she'd wander through Lord & Taylor on Fifth Avenue, admiring clothes she couldn't afford. One day, someone asked her what agency she modeled for. When she said she wasn't a model, they told her she should be. That encounter changed everything. Her mother threw her out when she started modeling, but leaving home gave her freedom. Tyson moved in with a friend and began carving her own path. Acting soon followed. In 1961, at 37, she landed a role in the off-Broadway play The Blacks, which became the longest-running non-musical play of the decade. Sharing the stage with Maya Angelou and James Earl Jones, Tyson earned recognition but little pay. Discrimination was still rampant. Black actors earned half what white actors did. She had to take side jobs to survive. Tyson had studied at the Actors Studio, where she was one of only 3 black students. She was often isolated, left without scene partners, and told she should only play maids. She cried, but she refused to quit. Her first television appearance came in 1951, but it was painful. She was forced to lighten her skin with harsh chemicals that burned her face. That day, she vowed never again to take a role that made her feel ashamed of who she was. Her first film role in 1956, Carib Gold, paid little and cast her as a maid speaking in a fake accent. Embarrassed, she turned down more than 20 similar roles over the next 5 years, choosing dignity over money. In 1963, she joined East Side/West Side on CBS, playing a secretary named Jane Foster. Her natural hair shocked audiences, especially in the South, where many stations refused to air the show. But that decision made history. She became a symbol of pride, later called the mother of the Afro. She continued to fight for meaningful roles. In 1972, her performance as Rebecca Morgan in Sounder brought her an Oscar nomination and national respect. She showed black womanhood with depth and strength at a time when Hollywood rarely did. She told the New York Times she was done playing maids or prostitutes, saying she wanted dignity or nothing at all. In 1974, she played the title role in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, portraying a woman who lived to be 110. The performance was transformative. The makeup process took hours in Louisiana's heat, but she endured it with grace. When the film aired, nearly 40 million people watched and she won 2 Emmys. 3 years later came Roots, one of the most important TV events in history. Tyson played Binta, the mother of Kunta Kinte, and her emotional performance helped spark a nationwide interest in tracing African ancestry. Through every role, Tyson demanded truth and humanity, refusing to portray black people as caricatures. She turned down work that paid well but lacked integrity, often at great financial cost. Producers called her difficult, but she said she'd rather have peace of mind than pay a therapist to heal from the damage. By the late 1970s, she had become a legend of principle. She was offered a role in The Wiz but declined because it didn't feel right. Though her income dropped drastically, her influence grew. Viola Davis later said Tyson showed that black actors didn't have to settle. In 1997, she received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a recognition of decades spent saying no to disrespect and yes to truth. She continued to take powerful roles, like in The Oldest Living Confederate Widow Tells All in 1994, which earned her another Emmy. She played strong, complex women who carried silent power. Money never motivated her, representation did. She understood that every choice shaped how the world saw Black women. Tyson's personal life had pain of its own. She married Kenneth Franklin at 18, had a daughter Joan a few months later, and was abandoned within 2 years. Later, she married jazz legend Miles Davis in 1981. Their relationship was stormy. Davis was jealous, volatile, and unfaithful. They divorced in 1989, and though she forgave him, the emotional toll was lasting. Her daughter, whom she rarely spoke about publicly, felt the cost of her mother's career. Tyson later admitted that Joan paid the highest price for her success and dedicated her memoir to her. Even in her later years, Tyson never slowed down. She appeared in Fried Green Tomatoes, The Women of Brewster Place with Oprah Winfrey, and The Help in 2011, where she argued with producers to ensure an honest portrayal of Black domestic workers. She believed her job wasn't just to perform but to protect truth. From 2015 to 2020, she played Ophelia Harkness, Viola Davis's mother, in How to Get Away with Murder, earning 5 Emmy nominations. At 90, she was still memorizing long scripts and filming 16-hour days. Her return to Broadway in 2013 with The Trip to Bountiful was triumphant. At 88, she led the play through 187 performances and won the Tony Award for Best Actress, the oldest woman ever to do so. When producers tried to cut her acceptance speech short, she ignored them, saying, "You wrapped me up in your arms after 30 years, and now I can go home with a Tony." It was a moment of vindication for a lifetime of perseverance. In her later years, she received the Kennedy Center Honors in 2015, the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama in 2016, and an honorary Oscar in 2018, the first Black woman to receive it in that category. During her Oscar speech, she revealed she had suffered from serious heart problems for years, but kept them private. She said she came from the slums and never expected such recognition, adding that she went to water, meaning she wept when the Academy called. In 2020, amid the loneliness of the pandemic, she worked tirelessly to finish her memoir Just As I Am, co-written with Michelle Burford. It was released on January 26, 2021. 2 days later, on January 28, Cicely Tyson died peacefully at 96. There was no public cause of death, and her manager said there had been no warning. It was as if she had waited until her story was complete.